about NHQA and kind of what got you interested, and then maybe what kind of made you pull the trigger to go ahead and apply?
I found out about NHQA from Tim O'Brien, with Tim O'Brien Homes. He's we're in a Builder 20 group together, and he spoke very, very highly of it. I mean, Tim runs and operates this business at a very, very high level with very high expectations, and he has results that, to prove that. So again, we had spent tremendous amounts of money and time and efforts on, outside third party, folks to come in and try to help make you better and try to help, analyze, different aspects of your business, your operations. And sometimes you might get results, but this was one that by far cleared out the rest of them. And it was the most beneficial thing that we have done in our company's history, in my book.
Was there a particular part of your business that you wanted to improve through this process, or was it more an overall operational endeavor that you just wanted to take a look at your business and kind of see where you were and obviously want to improve?
We went into it with a very open mind. We knew we wanted to get better and had to get better on all levels. The situations that happened with COVID and everything else really exposed inefficiencies that we had in our company. It was a big growth moment for our company. So we knew we had a lot to get better at. I think the major focus areas, and Adam can speak to this as well, but predominantly were, strategic planning, really clarity, transparency, and communications, our quality. I mean, just operational excellence, is kind of how to sum it up.
It was kind of we had been doing our best to improve things ourselves with no roadmap, really. And so a lot of this was almost fact finding for us. What is it that we're good at? What is it that we can improve at? And for us, a lot of what this turned into was almost a shortcut or a roadmap that would show us, what are others doing that we could be doing to improve ourselves. And the part 2 of the application was hugely instrumental in that. It, highlighted a bunch of areas that we needed to improve, knew that we were lacking, and, brought a lot of that to light for us. So we tried a new organizational process with all of this, where we kind of elected champions for each section, which really helped out a lot in getting it done instead of having one person kind of trying to wrangle everything together. We had separate teams that we had, primary members and secondary members, where they would contribute large amounts or small amounts, just kind of depending. And there was a lot of cross-departmental work that was going on all the while. But getting each, champion to work on their section and, give that deliverable at the end was great, and kind of, helped everyone understand what was going on, what it is that they were doing, and kind of spread that message across the board. I mean, that part 2 application was great to let everybody look at it and read it and see, this is what everybody's doing. This is what affects me. This is what we're doing well. And these are the things that we can work on. So it was a full team effort, and a lot more people were involved in it than I think expected to be. And it helped bring everyone together and get a lot of buy-in too.
So you've turned in your application and you get a site visit, which is great. What were your expectations for that and your preparation, and also how it augmented the application process?
That was actually a really important point of emphasis that we pushed on everybody that was preparing their sections was, you need to be able to answer and show your work any of these questions that you're answering. And I think that was part of why I think that was part of why we felt as comfortable as we did with the site visit. Now, there were some uncomfortable times where they were asking questions that were kind of between the lines and in the questions that were on the application that we were not prepared for. And that's part of why I don't think that we scored higher. But it was all a lot of things that we kind of felt this was coming, and we know that we're lacking there.
All right, so you've gone through the first two steps. You've got the application in, the site visits concluded, and then you get the feedback report. Were there any surprises there, or was it pretty much what you thought it would be, given the site visit and the feedback and the kind of comments you got from the judges during that part of the process?
I don't think that we could have predicted what was going to be in the feedback report, but after the site visit and after the feedback we were getting from them in person, I think we had a pretty good idea of what it was we were missing. We were just really looking forward to how we scored, what they thought about what it is that we do, and getting that almost, like I said, a roadmap for what we can do to improve. That was the most valuable part for us, was what are others doing? What are best practices? How can we implement these things? And it's been great. We've already applied a lot of what we've learned from it and have started to implement some other initiatives that we've got as far as department head and leadership meetings that we're working on for our strategic goals throughout this year and going forward.
The best part about the feedback report was it was another healthy reminder, because the gut check, so to speak, of when you're sitting there at a conference room table with all the site judges, and they ask you a question and your top level leadership doesn't have a good solid answer for said question, it's a very humbling moment. So, I mean, to get that feedback report, again, it's just kind of a backup driver saying, hey, you've got things to work on. You got to get better. You got to improve. And that's what we love about what we do, is everybody in our company is so driven just to get better. And that's truly all we want to do.
Can you give me one or two examples of things that you've started to implement or want to implement after this process, after you got the feedback report specifically, and there were some action items there? Were there some that you already kind of knew and started, or and I know it hasn't been a long time, so just maybe give us some insight into kind of going forward, what your plans are.
Probably, behind our department head meetings would probably be a really big one that's really blended up into our overall strategic planning for the company, for the future and our growth. Those are ones that, have definitely been put in process. They're definitely early on, but again, that kicked off routine monthly meetings that give a lot of people a lot of transparency, and that way the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. And so I think that's been a big portion, as well as, the culture of care, kind of cultural aspect of our company, will actually be rolled out in January. So that's something that we started really kicking off as far as setting up probably about 3 months prior to our NHQA stuff. So that's been a big one, but that's a complete realignment of our core values, our mission, our service standards as a company, honestly, between how we want to treat each other and how we expect our home buyers, our homeowners to be treated just the same as a coworker. It's got to be a top tier experience where someone genuinely feels that level of care.
But then internally, really trying to focus on what are our KPIs, because those have not ever really been super well defined. And so there has been a great focus on trying to figure out what are those, what are we going to measure, and then how do we measure that success? Okay,
last question. What advice would you give to a builder who is thinking about this program, has heard about it, but really hasn't looked into it, and wants to improve? What would you tell them about your experience and the process and the value in general?
I would say don't waste your money on anything else. Don't waste your time looking at anything else, and do this.
When you apply, be honest with yourself, and get everybody else to be as honest and open as they can, because you can't get good, honest feedback if you have not, laid it all out there.
We really think that we have all the resources, all the people, all the right parts and pieces in place to be tremendously successful. But beyond that, beyond the award, is more about what it has allowed us to be put in a position to do for all the rest of our employees, homeowners, home buyers, of really going the next step on quality, service, standards, logistically, innovation, you name it. I think that's really where we're going to spend a grotesque amount of time, really, on a lot of self-reflection over the next, 14, 16 months, and be reapplying.